Okay, so now we're at the part where you're going to do the problem with me. And the problem is, Miss Alves put 21 papers in 7 piles. How many papers are in each pile? So the first question, well, what is the unknown? Well, let's figure out what we know. We know there are 21 papers. That's how many papers there are altogether. That is our total. We know there are 7 piles. Well, if there's 7 piles, that means there's 7 groups. So that would be the number of groups. Go ahead on your whiteboard and tell me what is the unknown. What is left that we don't know? We know the total, we know the number of groups. What is that third part of our equation that we don't know? So on your whiteboard, you should have wrote the size. The unknown is the size of the group. So we do not know how many papers are in each pile. Down here it says we need to model the problem on our personal whiteboards as an array where each column represents one pile. Okay, so if each column represents one pile and we know that there's 7 piles, you need to make an array that has 7 columns. Okay, go ahead on your whiteboard and get started. And after you've got a start, I will start on mine in case you need some hints. Okay, so if you're working on your array, continue. We know that we have 7 piles. Each column needs to represent a pile. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've started my 7 columns, and I need to keep adding to each column until I get to my total, which is 21. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so here is an array. Go ahead and catch up if you need to. This array shows 21 papers total, if we're saying each circle is a paper. There are 7 piles, so we have 7 columns going up and down. And so from this picture, you should already be thinking about how many papers or how many circles there are in each pile or each group. Okay, so now I am going to take this array that I have and model the same problem as a tape diagram. So if you have your array, don't erase it. We're going to change it into a tape diagram. So go ahead with me. Let's make this a giant piece of tape. So let's put a box all the way around it. Okay, and we know that all together we have 21 total, okay, or 21 pieces of paper total. We know that there's 7 piles or 7 groups. So I'm going to go ahead and label that I have 7 groups. 21 papers total, broken into 7 groups. So what I need to do is actually break those into 7 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. I'm going to give you just a minute to catch up. Okay, so now the last part that I can label is my size. That was unknown, so what is the size of the group? Well, now that I have made the groups in my tape diagram, I can count. There's 1, 2, 3 pieces of paper in each group, so the size of the group is 3. Okay, so now we're going to use that tape diagram to write multiplication and division equations that show the unknown. Okay. So let's start with our multiplication. We knew that there were 7 groups of, but we didn't know how many in each group. We did know that it equaled 21 pieces of paper total. Okay, let's look at division. We knew there were 21 pieces of paper total. They were divided into 7 groups. So how many did that equal per group? Well, once we drew our tape diagram, we were able to figure out that 7 groups of 3 equals 21, and 21 divided into 7 groups equals 3 per group. Okay. Now you're at the part where you are going to work on your homework alone. It's number 1 and 2. Number 1 has 2 parts. Please make sure that you're using the Cami function that lets it read the text to you if you're having trouble reading, because there are a lot of people that are skipping stuff, like here when it says draw an array. Okay, now you can't just draw any array. Draw an array where each column represents the number of pairs in each basket. So you can't kind of just be making stuff up. You really have to be thinking about what you are drawing and making sure it matches the problem you're being asked. All right, go ahead and begin.